Color guard attention. Forward march. Hold. Prepare to post the colors. Post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color guard reform. About face. Color guard forward march. Hold. About face. Color guard at ease.
Thank you guys so much. Why don't you give them a hand? That was amazing. Nice job. Okay, I'm going to pass it on.
You may be seated.
Veterans are brave men and women who are still alive today. We thank them for their service and the price they choose to pay. Each day we live in freedom, and our memory must not fade. The reason for this freedom comes from sacrifices made. So we celebrate our veterans on the 11th of November. We thank them for their courage and pledge always to remember. Veterans Day is a holiday we celebrate to show thanks for our veterans. Veterans are men and women who served in the armed forces in our country. This means they are part of the U.S. military. Veterans include those who are in the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force, or Marines. It takes bravery and honor to serve in the U.S. military. Many people in our military need to travel far from their families for long periods of time. They miss holidays, birthdays, and special family events. The members of our military also risk their lives as their work is very dangerous. They do it because they know that their job is important to keeping our country safe. Veterans Day is celebrated on November 11th. The reason it is celebrated on the 11th is because fighting in World War I ended on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. On Veterans Day, many people choose to honor veterans in different ways. School, post office, banks, and other businesses close to take a day off to honor Veterans Day. Some people write letters to thank veterans for their service. What can you do to thank a veteran on Veterans Day?
To say thank you for keeping our country safe. You are needed. Our country is so grateful for your work and dedication. You are my hero. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for keeping us safe and giving us a free country. You are all our heroes. I hope you can spend lots of time with your family and friends.
Thank you for your service and thank you for your time. Also, I know it is sad being away from your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much for what you've done. Thank you for serving our country. Thank you for sacrificing your life for me and everybody else you saved. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for giving us freedom in our nation. We thank you for protecting, serving, and fighting for our nation. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you.
All right, third grade.
Leave your coats, leave your badge.
So third graders learned this song and they all voted on what they wanted to do. They made the dance and this is all them. Here we go. See the veteran, see the veteran. Oh, so brave, oh, so brave. We thank you for your service, we thank you for your service. You're so strong, you're so strong. We remember on this day, fighting for our freedom, fighting for our freedom. We thank you, we thank you.
It was just a little white table, but it brought tears of pride to my Uncle John's eyes. The Veterans Day, he came for dinner and stood by it. Sat for one person even though nobody would be eating at it. It was just a little white table, but earlier that day, Mama had told me, Gretchen, Samantha, the little white table we were setting for the Veterans Day was just like the ones that have stood across America in the dining hall of the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and the Air Force since the Vietnam War ended. The tables honor the men and women who serve for America's armed forces, especially those missing in action, or MIAs, and those who held prisoner of war, or POWs. It was just a little white table, but it felt as big as America when we helped Mama put each item on it, and she told us why it was so important. We use a small table, girls, she explained first, to show one soldier's lonely battle against many. We cover it with a white cloth to honor a soldier's pure heart when he answers his country's call to duty. We place a lemon slice and grains of salt on a plate to show a captive soldier's bitter fate and the tears of families waiting for loved ones to return, she continued. We push an empty chair to the table for the missing soldiers who are not here. black napkin for the sorrow of captivity and turn over a glass for the meal that won't be eaten, she said. We place a white candle for peace and finally a red rose in a vase tied with red ribbon for hope that all are missing will return someday. Mama finished speaking as sunlight spilled on the table and filled the overturned glass. It was just a white table, but it suddenly made me want to burst with a feeling I couldn't explain when Mama told us how much our setting the white table would mean to Uncle John that night. Then she told us something we didn't know. Our Uncle John, who gave us big bear hugs and spun us with airplane tours and called me his Katie girl, was a POW in Vietnam before we were born. It was just a little white table, but it gave us courage to ask Mama what happened to Uncle John in Vietnam. She quietly told us his story. When Uncle John served in Vietnam, he was sent on a rescue mission and his helicopter was shot down behind enemy lines, she began. And he and his 3 crew members were taken prisoner. One crew member named Mike had serious wounds from the crash, but Uncle John and the other men tried to help Mike get better and persuaded a guard to bring Mike medicine. Then one day, when a guard looked away, Uncle John and the others had a chance to escape, but Mike was still too sick to go. So Uncle John stayed behind because he wouldn't leave a fellow soldier alone so far from home. But how did Uncle John get free? We asked Mama. Sometime later, Uncle John had another chance to escape. And somehow he was able to take Mike with him, carrying him on his back and collecting just enough rainwater and big leaves to keep them alive. Until Uncle John had found an American infantry unit to help them. But even though Uncle John did everything he could to bring Mike home alive, Mike's wounds were just too serious and he died before the rescue helicopter landed. I know that Mike was only 20 years old and he dreamed of playing football, but he loved America enough to give his life for his country when duty called. And I know how much Uncle John loves America too, but he learned when helping Mike, a soldier risks his life for a fellow soldier, because the best of your country lives in every man and woman who lay down their life for you too. It was just a little white table, but it needed words of gratitude, like Mama's Thanksgiving meal. So, before Uncle John arrived for dinner, Gretchen, Samantha, and I decided to put 3 gifts of our own on the table to honor our veterans. Gretchen colored pictures of all the objects on the table, and Samantha wrote out the words, "My country 'tis of thee," as a tribute in song. But I didn't know what a 10-year-old girl could ever put on the table that was so important as each veteran's gift of freedom to me. It was just a little white table, but I looked at it all dinner long. In the quiet inside me, I could almost hear the silent soldiers of the empty chair sing, "Remember us, please. We are your real people, like your Uncle John and Mike, who left families and friends, homes and dreams of our own to protect your birthright of liberty from disappearing as easily as sunlight from a glass." It was just a little white table, but it took words away when I hugged Uncle John goodnight and wanted to thank him for serving our country so bravely. So I just hugged him even harder and told him I loved him. Uncle John hugged me back even harder than I had hugged him. And that's when I knew what I could put on the table. My promise to the words from my heart into a little book about America's white table. And in the book, I used Gretchen's pictures and Samantha's song and Mama's story about Uncle John and his friend Mike. because I hope that everyone who read it would set a white table on Veterans Day too. So the brave Americans, the little table honors, won't ever feel forgotten by the country they loved so much. Then, in the salt on the little white table, I traced the grains of their families' tears, what each man and woman who serves America is to me, a hero. And that's when I saw tears of pride fill my Uncle John's eyes. The end.
Fifth graders that had a speaking part, please come on out. And those who helped with America's White Table, come on out. Take one last bow. All right, fifth graders, go ahead and go sit back down, please. Veterans, thank you for coming today. Thank you for your service. And I would like to thank everyone who helped with this today. Ms. Labus and Ms. G, thank you for being so flexible, and Boy Scouts, so very, very proud of you. And third grade, song, yes, you made me cry. They know what that means. And just everyone did an amazing job. Teachers, staff, Ms. Bachman, Ms. Henry, for words of encouragement, for I don't know how many times I heard, how can I help you? Please let me know how I can help you, in the fifth graders. But the fifth graders, they have been working on this for quite a long time, and they did an amazing job. This is their community service project, and there was a lot that went on behind the scenes, not just the people up here that had a part. So if you, fifth grade, if you are on the committee to walk the veterans in, please stand. All right, give them a round of applause. Thank you. Fifth grade, if you are on the committee for the flags and the posters, please stand. Fifth grade, if you are on the committee for the cookies, please stand. Everybody wanted that job. If you are on the committee for the goodie bags, please stand. If you are on the committee for setting up the chairs, please stand. And all of fifth grade, please stand. Good job. I'm very, very, very proud of you. Once again, veterans, I'd like to say thank you for coming and thank you for your service. Right now we have a cookie reception, and so if you invited a veteran to come, you are welcome to come up and get your veteran and escort them back to your classroom for the cookie reception. If you were assigned a veteran, then teachers have those students come up and escort that veteran back to the classroom. And fifth grade, once again, I'm going to, this is your cue, once again I'm going to thank the veterans for coming today. So I would like for you to stand and give them a standing ovation.